Hello, hello. Welcome back. All right. So to continue with our lightsaber project, the next thing I want to do is I want to create a bit of packaging for it. So with this one, I'm going to do kind of a premium packaging. I've got it here. This is I'm going to attempt to replicate. I already modeled it, of course. So let me switch over into shaded here so I can move around a little bit, or rendered here so I can move around a little bit. This is ray traced here. So I've got the Imperial kind of logo on the back here. I've got a nice like crate-like object with some foam inserts here. And yeah, so I think it's going to be a really nice idea for a package here. I can make it out of wood using the laser cutter and some tools, or I could 3D print it. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with this. All right, so I'm going to start with just a blank drawing. I can always copy it, paste it onto the other project later on. And I'm going to start off in a top view. Just double click into that window here. And the overall dimensions of our little crate, or whatever we want to call it, is 100 millimeters by 340 millimeters. So I'm going to start off with a rectangle, and I'm going to start at 0, enter, and then I'm going to come out from there, 340, enter, 100, enter. So this is the overall dimensions of it. And then I'm going to switch to a perspective view, grab it, and from right here, I'm going to go ahead and extrude that up 100 millimeters. So this is our box. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round off all of the edges. So I'm going to use fillet edge, and I'm going to grab all of the edges with a radius of 5, enter, R, enter, 5, enter, and then start selecting. And if it doesn't say 5 here, escape out and make sure you enter your radius first before selecting any edges. Go through all of these and hit enter twice. Cool. So now we've got that shape. What I want to do next is I'm going to create like these kind of cutout sections here. So I'm going to go to a front view, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to just draw a circle with a radius of 5 as well. Yeah, so actually I'll just use my grid snap here. So turn grid snap on. Actually, I think that the radius, let me start over with the grid snap on, click on here, and then I'm going to go straight up. So I'm going to cut out this little section here. So I think it's 10 millimeters actually. So I'm going to draw a line. And I'm going to go from this quadrant to the center, from that center to the quadrant, and make sure you have your snaps turned on the way I do. Trim, enter, select these objects as my cutting objects, enter, and then trim that out, enter. Then I'm going to go ahead and delete this, and I'm just going to put this into its place here. So select the object and go ahead and move it up. And since we have grid snap turned on, and you notice our object is actually snapped to the grid at the base there, we're in a good position to get that right where we want. And then I'm going to go ahead and mirror that over from the midpoint here. If you're not in ortho here, which I'll turn my ortho on, but if you don't have it on, you just hold down shift if you want to keep it that way. And then I'll draw a line from right here all the way across, and then from right there all the way across. Select this whole object and join it. And then I want to put that on the top as well. So I'm going to mirror this object onto the top. So type mirror, enter, select the object. Sorry, let's do it again. Mirror, enter, select the object, and then select the point that you want to use as a mirror pivot. So I'm going to do a little line here from there to there, and we've got our object mirrored to this side here. Great. So now I'm going to select both of these pieces. I'm going to go to a top view because I want to mirror it onto the back side here. Mirror, enter, select the midpoint here, and draw a line this way. And so now we should have our objects drawn just so. Very good. And then I want to put them on this side as well. So I'll switch to a right view and then just redraw our circle from the center out here to there. And then go ahead and do the same trim line from here to there, from here to there, trim, select these as the cutting object, click there, enter, click there to delete that. And then I'm going to move it over one. And then I'm going to mirror from there over there. A line from there to there and there to there. And then we're just going to select the whole thing, join it together, and move it up into position. Again, using our grid snaps. So keeping everything snapped works really nicely here. Okay, and then I'm going to mirror it again to the top, from the midpoint here to there. Select both of them, go to the top view, and mirror it to the other side. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is go ahead and clean this up a bit. I'm going to get rid of this line. And then I'm going to go ahead and hide this object just for a second so we can only focus on what we're doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, and then I'm going to click on the extrude. You see the arrow direction there, and I'm going to go 5 millimeters. Okay, do this and this, and then I got to go -5 because it's pointed that way. -5. Whoops, wrong way. Wrong one. I missed it. I pushed the arrow instead. So click here, -5, extrudes inward. These ones as well. Actually, let's do this one first, right? Yeah, because it's facing that way. We go 5. Dang it. Just like this and this. Ball. 5, enter. And then we go -5. Okay. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to create a chamfered edge on the bottom of these so that I've got a little bit of a 45-degree angle. These are 5 millimeters thick, so I'm going to do a 5 millimeter chamfer so that I can keep everything at a 45. Makes it really easy for 3D printing not to have any straight overhangs. So we'll go chamfer, edge, and I'm going to select this, this, and this on all of them. All the way around. All right. Enter, enter. Okay, so that now creates that shape that we want for the negative space. Let's go ahead and click on our center mouse wheel here and bring it back. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and Boolean difference. Select the object I want to keep, enter, click, click on all of these. You'll left or right select to grab the whole thing, and then hit enter. And I have my Boolean difference set up to delete the cutters as no, and so it keeps the cutters there. But then I've got to go through and actually just delete them because I do not need them. All right. So there we go. That's the first major steps. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the kind of panels on the top here. So let's go to a top view. And find the midpoint. Draw a line from the midpoint here, just straight out. And then I'm going to do a, that's going to be a 10 offset 10 millimeters on either side. So I'm going to do one this way, and I'm going to do one this way. So again, offset, show it again. Delete, delete, offset. Oops, offset. Click on the object to offset and choose your distance. 10, enter, click. Click over here, enter to bring up the same command. 10, enter, click. Okay. Very good. So now we've got this shape here, which I'm going to draw a rectangle from there to there. Very good. And get rid of my guidelines. All right, so this rectangle here, I can go to perspective. Mine is up on the top here. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I'm going to grab this and I'm going to go ahead and just extrude it up. And then I'm going to mirror it from a front view to the bottom. Okay. Then I'm going to Boolean difference this object I'm keeping, enter. Then click on the objects you'd like to get rid of, enter. And then I've got these faces now like that. Switch to perspective. Cool. Now I just have to do the front face. So switch to a front view again, draw a line. I'm going to go from right here to right here, from there to there. All right, draw a rectangle because that's what I'm going to use. Then click here, and I'm going to select this curve, shift, select that curve, and delete. So I'm just using this rectangle as my guide. Switch to perspective, and then I can mirror it to the other side. From the midpoint, draw a straight line, click, and you should have them on both sides. Then I'm going to go ahead and extrude this, -5, enter. Extrude this, oops, just 5, enter. Whoops, I moved it instead of extruded it. Keep doing that. Curve, extrude, 5. Okay. Then Boolean difference, select this to keep, and get rid of these two. Then delete our cutters to see what we have left. All right. And actually, I didn't mean to cut this bottom part off. I want to leave that there. So let me go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to push-pull this section. I mean, it looks fine, but now I get to show you the push-pull tool. So push-pull, there we go. All right. Then I'm going to bevel the edges of these with a chamfer. So I'm going to chamfer, edge. And this time the distance I'm going to do is 4, enter. Okay. And then I'm going to click on here, 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 there, and there. Enter, enter. Okay, so it worked on these two. For some reason, it didn't want to work on these ones, which is fine because I can easily fix that. So I can just go push-pull. And grab right here and just drag it out. Push-pull, drag it out. Okay. All right, so that's the overall shape of our object. The next step is to create the separation and the hinge mechanism for it. All right, so I'm going to do some math calculations. The wall thickness around this is going to be 10 millimeters. So what I'm going to do is I've got to draw basically a box right here, the right size. So let's go ahead and draw a box 10 on either side. So rectangle, we're going to do our overall is 340, so 320, enter. And then I really don't care about this length because I'm going to make it overlap. And then I'm going to go ahead and extrude it up. Okay. And then I'm going to come, I want to do 10 millimeters from there. So I'm going to go to a top view here. Because this box, again, because all of our objects here, sorry, I had my gumball set to object instead of C-plane. So align to object, it was selected. So if I just right click on the gumball, I'm aligning it to the C-plane now. So it works a little bit better. Okay, so I got 10 on either side here. And 10 there. So that's basically where I want to cut out this section, right? But I'm going to switch to a front view as well. I'm sorry, a right view. Oh, of course, I put the wrong one in the wrong spot. So I want to go all the way to there. And then this is going to be 60 millimeters from the top. So we got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So that's where that goes. Okay. And then in the back, I've got like 35 millimeters from the top down. So I'm going to draw a line. Line, enter. And then I'm going to draw a line because 35 isn't right on the snap there. I'm going to go 35, enter, click, and then I'm going to draw a line from the endpoint out, and then a line on up, and a line on over. And then I'm going to select this whole thing. Actually, draw a rectangle because I'm going to extrude this. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of these curves. Left to right select to grab just the objects I'm surrounding. And then I keep this here. Okay, switch back to perspective with both of those selected. All right. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and extrude this 320 millimeters. All right. Even though they're not aligned yet, I can fix that really quick. I'm going to move, enter, grab this point here, and go right there. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and just Boolean union these two together. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to go ahead and extrude this up a little bit more. Boolean union together. Okay, so this is like a funky looking shape, but it's literally to be able to split my object well. So let's go ahead and use top view here. And I'm going to come over here and line it up again, 10 millimeters in. And if I look at it in perspective here, now you can see I've got the back of the latch split here and the front split a little bit lower to match my design. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go split. Oops, split, enter. Click on the object to split, enter. Click on the object I'm going to split with, enter. All right, so let me show you this real quick. I'm going to cut this out here. If I look at this now, you can see I don't have any interior shape on this, which is a problem, right? So let me undo real quick, Control Z. What I'm going to do now is split this with this and our internal shape. Let's go to a ghosted view so I can see through it. And that. So I'm splitting it with both of them. Enter. So now I should have this shape. You see how it's carved around it? Okay, so I'm now going to delete that. So what that does is it gives me an interior shape. So let me hide this, and you can see what I'm talking about here. So let me go back to like a rendered view here. So see, now it's a solid object, right? Because I use the interior of that box to give it a fill on the inside there. So now what I need to do is duplicate this. So I'm going to just copy it to the clipboard, Control X to cut it, Control V to paste it. Okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and join these two objects together with join. Again, join works with surface to surfaces, and Boolean works with like a sphere overlapping a sphere, so solid to solid. Okay, so that's our interior shape there. And then this one here, let me go ahead and hide this so you can see it's open. Control V, because I copied that to the clipboard. Now I can join these two shapes together. Okay, so that's all one piece. Cool. But it doesn't have an opening. So that's the next step. All right, so go ahead and bring everything back. I'm going to go ahead and switch over here to shaded. Go up to edit, select objects and curves. Whoops. Edit, select objects, curves, delete. All right. So now we're ready to create the hollow section in the middle. So first I'm going to go into the top view here and draw a rectangle. And that rectangle is going to go from this point to this point. Okay. Select it so I can see it when I switch views. I'm going to go to a front view here. All right. And then I'm going to pull this up on the snaps. Oops. It's not snapped. So it's not on the grid snap. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to undo my grid snap, type move, enter, select the object to move, and while it's selected, turn the grid snap back on. Okay, because I want to snap it here, and then I'm going to extrude it to there. Okay, so if I look at it in perspective, we have it. Just a box inside of there, okay? Just to show you what I'm going to do, I'm going to hide this. Okay? Oh. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and Boolean difference this out. So we go Boolean difference, select the object to subtract from, enter, and then select our object to cut out with, enter. All right. And you can see we've got our cut perfect. Oops. Okay, so next we do the top part. So let me hide this. And then we go hide this. All right, Boolean difference. Select this, enter, select that, enter, and now we've got that all cut out. Cool. Bring everything back. So now this will, open up, and that's where our lightsaber will go inside. So cool. Perfect. The next thing we want to do is I need a little front lip. So let me hide this real quick. So I want a little lip in the front for the top to kind of go over, because I want the lightsaber to be a little bit higher than this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle from here to there and do 6 millimeters. Oops, I don't know why it drew that way. Not a big deal though. I go move, enter, select this corner and put it right there. Cool. And that lip height is going to go up above it's going to be right at the midpoint there. So 50 millimeters. So going to bump that up. And then of course this is sitting on top of a 10 millimeter thick wall. So I'm going to go up 40. So now I've got a nice little lip there. And then I want to chamfer that edge to make it so that when it falls down, it'll kind of have a little lip to be able to get over the top of. So I'm going to chamfer the edge with the distance of 5 and click here, enter twice. Actually, you know what? 4 was better. Distance of 4. Chamfer edge, distance of 4. Click, it says 4, enter twice. All right, cool. So now I'm going to Boolean union these things together. All as one piece. Then I got that line there, and it just bugs me. So I'm going to go merge all coplanar faces, because those faces are coplanar, and it'll make it like that. So we're almost done. The next thing I want to do is I actually want to put that little Imperial logo on the ends here. And I'll show you how to do that really quick because it's kind of fun. So I've got in my downloads folder, let me find it real quick. So I pulled this off the internet, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to live trace this in Adobe Illustrator. So let's do that real quick. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to document setup here and change my artboard, edit artboard, and I'm going to go from custom here to fit artwork bounds. Great. And then I'm going to go select all, and then I go to object, image trace, make and expand. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on this and click here to turn it black, and then take this and turn it to nothing. Great. Then I'm going to grab my closed selection tool and delete the exterior lines around it. Awesome. Then all I got to do is file, save as, and I'm going to save it as a PDF. Okay. I'm going to put it in my downloads folder and save PDF. Minimize and go to Rhino, file, import. And I'll bring in my screenshot. Just hit OK here. You can always scale it out later. And then I'm going to move it over here, get rid of the artboard bounds here. And then what I want to do is I want to offset this because I need an extra ring around it. So I'll go offset, enter. And then the distance I want to offset, I'm going to hit D, enter. And then I'm going to click from here to there. So it's just the same thickness as that. And then offset to there. Awesome. Select the whole thing, rotate around, pop it up straight. Okay. From a top view, I'm going to come over here. And again, I'm going to turn off my grid snap, go move, enter. Select the object, turn back on grid snap, snap it to my grid. And the reason for that is, of course, our object has a flat surface right along that grid here. And then I'm going to move it to our midpoint. So the arrow is lined up with the midpoint there. Pop it over there. Go to perspective here. Then switch to a right view and bring it up to the midpoint. Then it's not quite at the right orientation, so I'm going to rotate it. I'll turn it around one time because I need it to be like that. And it's not quite perfectly centered here. So turn off the grid snap, grab it to start moving it, turn back on grid snap, and sorry, hold on a second. Go move, enter, select midpoint here, and then turn off grid snap, and then turn back on grid snap. Okay. And then I gotta move it up. Dang it. Off grid snap. Move. Grab from the center. Won't give me a center. Maybe I'll here, right. Make sure your center snap is on. Like, why want to pick my center? And I'm just gonna line it up with the arrows close enough. And zoom way in if I need to, and just kind of, with all my snaps turned off, move it to there. And then hold down shift and scale it to the right scale dimension you want. Maybe about there. Switch back to perspective. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mirror this onto the other side. So go mirror. And then select this point on the midpoint right there. And then drag out with ortho on. And there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and push pull each one of these segments. So push pull that, enter, 4, enter. Actually, no, I'm going to do 3. 3, enter. Whoops, wrong way. Enter, back this way, 3, enter. Okay. And then if I just click on this, enter, enter.
Yes.
Make sure you're dragging the right way. Enter. Enter. Click. Enter. Because it just uses that same dimension if you don't put in a new one. Okay. And repeat over here. Push, pull, click, drag. Oops. Ah, dang it. So push, pull, click on it, enter, start to drag, 3, enter. Okay. Enter. Dang it. Keep doing that. 3, enter. You got to get your clicks in the right spot. Enter. Enter. Once it's selected and you drag, you don't click again. Enter. As soon as it starts, you see that red? I just hit enter. Oops, I went the wrong way. All right. Cool. So this is a good looking design, but the problem is evident when you put it into rendered here. You see there is no clearance for this top to close and open. So what we need to do is we need to push the top around a little bit more. Oh, and I'm missing, I got a couple of spots here I need to push pull too. Right here. Just pop that all the way down. He's probably missing on the other side too. Oh, that side worked. Okay. All right, cool. So now we just have to create clearance. And then I also want to create some recesses to be able to put magnets in it so that it latches with magnets. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate the top here and make some modifications. So everything is perfectly to scale, and that's kind of important at this moment where I'm going to start manipulating the shape because, if I put a magnet in, I've got a 6 millimeter diameter magnet with a 1 millimeter thickness. If I change that scale when I'm going to 3D print, that magnet won't fit into the slot that I create. Also, I'm going to create a 1 millimeter clearance around the whole thing so that it opens and closes nicely. Now, if that scale changes, you might get less than a millimeter, and as it gets smaller and smaller, that clearance is going to be a little bit less than what is necessary to be able to really create the clearance that you want. So let's go ahead. I'm going to Control Shift and click on this face, and then I'm going to click the red arrow and go -1 to move it back 1 millimeter. I'm going to click on this face again, Control Shift or Command Shift if you have a Mac, click, and then I'm going to go this direction 1 millimeter. Then I'm going to come underneath the bottom here, Control Shift click, and I'm going to go up 1 millimeter, and then over here, Control Shift click, I'm going to go up 1 millimeter. Okay? Let's look at it when I bring this back, and now if I look at it in rendered, you'll be able to see that we have a little bit of clearance all the way around. I'm going to put hinges in the back, and those hinges will work with 1 millimeter as well. Okay. And then I'm going to left to right select to get rid of my my curves. All right. So the last thing I want to do with this is I want to create a bit of a recess for some magnets. So I'm going to hide this. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and set my auto C plane here and go back into shaded so it's a little easier to see with my grid. With auto C plane on, if I Control Shift click on this surface, it now moves my construction plane to the top there. So now I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to just draw the circle. Actually, you know what? Let me draw a line first. Line, enter. So I'm going to go ahead and turn center off here. Mid is fine. Point off. I'm going to go near because I just want it to be able to pick up anywhere. So near from there to perpendicular. And then I'm going to draw a circle from the midpoint here, the diameter of 6 millimeters. Enter. Now that is exactly the size of the magnet, which will be a little too tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just shift and scale it ever so slightly bigger, maybe about right there. Okay. Then what I want to do is I want to extrude this -1 millimeter. Okay. So now I've got an extrusion right there. That is the depth that I want. But I want to be able to line this up with the top as well. So I'm going to grab this extrusion. I'm actually going to isolate it just to make it easier for you all to see. I'm going to grab the top here, Command-Shift-Click, and I'm going to move this up. There's a gap of 1 millimeter, and then there's a 1 millimeter depth I need. So I'm going to go up, you guessed it, 2. So I'm going to extrude this up 2 millimeters. Okay? So that is now the size of the magnet that I'm going to Boolean difference out of both the top and the bottom. So I can bring everything back. I can go to a top view. And then I'm going to go ahead and select that and hit Alt, move it over to there. And then I'm going to select both of these and mirror to the other side. So click there to there. So now we've got our magnets lined up where we're going to put them. So let's go ahead and Boolean difference, delete the cutting object selected to no, select the object you want to keep, enter, get rid of, or cut out these 4, enter. Then I'm going to go ahead and hide the bottom. Oh, sorry. I guess bring back this, hide this, and then Boolean difference, keeping that, enter, and then select these 4. And then I'll just select them and delete them. So now I've got the recesses at the top and the bottom, and they line up perfectly. All right, so now that we have our little spots for all of our magnets, what we want to do is create little offsets where we're going to put our hinges. So I'm going to have jewelry box hinges in the back here, and I'm going to just have them hinge on the inside here so that you don't see them sticking out on the exterior. I think it's a little cleaner installation. It does take a little bit more advanced thought, but let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to create a rectangle right on the surface. Make sure Auto C-Plane is turned on. Control-Shift-Click on that surface to set our grid. And then we're going to draw a rectangle from here, start to drag out, and I'm going to go 10 millimeters. But that's actually going the wrong direction. So I want to delete, -10. And that's going the right direction. Enter. And then we're locked in. Now we'll go 1, quote, enter. So that gives us a 10 millimeter by 1 inch rectangle, which is the size of our hinge. And then I'm going to hold down Alt and come on. Whoop, no, not Alt. Sorry, I'm going to move this into position. And then I'm going to mirror it to the other side. Mirror, enter, go for the midpoint, drag this direction. Okay. Now with this, I want to extrude it the thickness of the metal on one part of the hinge, then the gap, which is 1 millimeter, and then the thickness of one part of the hinge on the lid. So that's 3 millimeters. So I'm going to extrude that up 3. And then I'm going to move it down into it 1 inch. So it's going to recess 1 inch, -1 millimeter, I mean. And then what I want to do is I'm going to actually increase the scale of these just along the red axis here so it overlaps slightly. Bring back my lid and Boolean difference. Keep this and this, enter, get rid of this, and this, enter. And now that's created our little hinge. Okay. All right, so the next step is this is ready to fabricate, but I'm going to go ahead and create a copy of this again. So Alt, move this one way over there, because I'm going to stage this one and have it open. So I'm going to go to a front view and rotate. Click on right here as my joint for the rotation and click out and then go 45. to make it a 45-degree angle. So that way it looks like it's open. Okay. Now you can model the hinges, and really you probably should, but I'm not going to do that. So the next step is to go ahead and bring everything back. And I want to create like a foam insert inside of here for the lightsaber. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on the foam insert. So all we got to do is first bring over our lightsaber. I'm going to bring over this one here and place it from a top view right into our box. Isolate this whole area so that I don't have anything else showing up. Go to a front view and left to right select to grab just this object and kind of lift it into position. We just want to get it nice and lined up with where we're going to be placing it. Once we have the foam insert, and then I'll move it back a little bit in space. And I did adjust the angle of this so that it laid kind of flat and better for rendering and stuff, but now that's a problem here. So I'm going to rotate it until I can try to get it flat. So if I have ortho on, so I'm holding down shift to bypass ortho. And then I'm just trying to line it up kind of with the grid. And I might, move this even closer to the grid just to see how it looks. Okay. Cool. So it looks pretty straight there. Straight enough. No one's ever going to notice if it's a little off. So there we go. So now I've got it kind of lined up where I want it. And we're ready to start building the foam insert. So first thing I'm going to do is isolate this. And go to a top view. And I'm just going to trace this out. I want the foam insert to not be super complicated, but kind of contour to the object. So I'm just going to draw kind of a rectangle a few times. I'm going to turn off all my object snaps so that it's just going right onto our grid. And I'm going to go from right around here all the way down to there. And then I'm going to draw another rectangle, and I'm just going to kind of do this so that I can create little notches around some of the bigger features here. And maybe one more just right here for a little detail. Okay. And then what I want to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to mirror them to the other side. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my snaps back on. Get my mid here. Drag it up. Okay. And then what I got to do is trim. So I'm going to set, this is our cutting line first. Enter, and then trim out this overlap on the outside here. And then hit enter, enter, and then I'm going to use enter, of course, to bring up the same command. And then I'm going to use these as my next group of cutting lines. So I'm just going to contour the foam to our object. Enter, and then trim these out. Okay. Enter. Get out of the command. Back to perspective here. Since it's all isolated, I can go ahead and go File, Edit, Select Objects, Curves, join them together. Turn off my auto C-plane. I just noticed it's still on. Z, enter, S, enter to zoom in on our object that we have selected here. And I'm going to go ahead and go up to about right there and then extrude it down. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and bring back our box here. All right. Now the box, what we want to do is we're going to create a bottom for it. So I'm going to isolate the box bottom. Oops. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and go extrude surface, select this surface, enter, and just kind of bring it up. So this is actually going to be the foam. Okay, the form that I just created is going to be the negative space of the foam. All right, so we got this. We hide this piece. Okay, we've got that. Now what we want to do is we want to move it up. Let's switch to a right view here so we can kind of see. This is our foam. Okay, this is the object for our box. We want the foam top, so to go just below this point here. Okay, and then this is our, all right, so that looks good. Okay, so switching back to perspective here. So now what you can see is we've got this shape here, and then we've got, this is our foam, and all we're doing is we're going to go Boolean difference. Keep this, get rid of this, and now we've got a nice little insert there. And it kind of fits nicely contoured around the object. I'm going to go ahead and bring this wall in a little bit more. So I'm going to go Control Shift or Command Shift click and just kind of pull it towards the object here. Okay. Very cool. So the last thing we're going to do is add materials to our box. All right, let's switch back to rendered view. Okay, so for the box, I'm just going to make it black plastic. So I'm going to go ahead and go to materials here, add a new one, go to plastic, and change the color to black. Okay, and go ahead and drag and drop it onto our object here. Okay, and then this part, I'm going to go ahead and create a new material, and I'm going to go import material from library. And I'm looking at a plastic, but I want this, they have like this leather plastic, black opaque plastic. There we go, leather, black textured opaque plastic, open. And then this is the one I want. Yeah, so it just gives it a little bit of roughness. You know, we're of course going to change all this stuff later. So, you know, it is what it is. But that's basically it. So now we're ready to render this thing out, or I'm going to bring it into Blender and Substance Painter in another video. That should do it for this one. See you on the next one.